Willson Contreras may actually hate the Milwaukee Brewers, and I say this without hyperbole. Here is a compilation of the 5 other times Brandon Woodruff has plunked Contreras and the times they faced each other. I mean, based on this sample size, I would say if it's the month of April, Brandon Woodruff is pitching and Willson Contreras is up to bat, you better be slamming the under on Contreras getting plunked by this guy. No joke, there were 24 solar eclipses between 2011 and 2020. In Willson Contreras' 10-year career, the Brewers have hit this man 24 times. If Willson Contreras gets hit, I guess start slamming the under for like a solar eclipse coming up or something. I don't know. Look, tangent aside, these 3 clips on April 13th of 2021 show how heated it got between the Brewers and Contreras' Cubs. The Cubs even went as far as to retaliate against Woodruff for hitting Contreras earlier that game. For those of you newer to baseball, this was during ancient times when pitchers not named Shohei Ohtani would hit and sometimes face repercussions for their poor pitching. Wilson got his vengeance, pimped the ball into a different planet, and thoroughly enjoyed his time around the bases. And for their next anniversary, Woodruff gives Contreras a 96-mile-per-hour heater to the elbow. I mean, I kid you not, this became such a frequent occurrence between the Cubs and the Brewers that the Cubs' official Twitter page decided to make a supercut of Willson Contreras being hit over and over and over again. Fast forward the timeline, and thankfully it's sometime in June, which means Wilson is safe for now. Coincidentally, Caleb Durbin, who is now Willson Contreras' teammate, is up to bat for the Brewers. He chops one over to Arenado, who makes a routine throw to first base. There's a crash, Durbin takes a spill, but there's no hard feelings. On the replay, Wilson decides to take a step back into the baseline for some reason. Rhys Hoskins, channel legend, had something to say to Contreras about this, and there was no back down from Wilson. In fact, he doubled down with a pretty harsh quote after the game. Fellas, I want you to show this to your girlfriends. Let them know that there's tea going on in baseball. There's some history here. First at bat, there's a little bit of gamesmanship. Wilson has a nice bat flip on the walk, but no fireworks there. However, kudos to the Red Sox broadcast team for being very helpful in foreshadowing what's yet to transpire.
He's got hit 5 times. That's some history. I don't know how the 6th time would go over.
Keep an eye on that tonight.
The history here is important because the 6th time Wilson gets hit, even Brandon Woodruff has questions as to whether or not it hit him. I'm not even being facetious. Woodruff completely ignores Contreras and asks the home plate umpire, "That hit him?" What's even crazier about this whole situation is that the catcher who's walking Willson Contreras up the first baseline is his brother, William Contreras. It's very unlikely that his own brother would ask for him to be hit in that situation, or that he would allow the pitcher under his own volition to hit his brother. So if you're wondering why the overreaction on that slight graze of the hand, I would like to direct you back to the start of this video. When I was watching this live, I thought Contreras was still yelling at Woodruff. The best part about all of this is you can see a little bit of confusion in Woodruff's eyes as he attempts to recompose himself for the next hitter. I'd like to believe that Woodruff is looking at his catcher like, "Oh, that's your brother." You can tell Pat Murphy is a big fan of Willson Contreras. He loves him so much he decides to quote him. "Fucking pussy." I love the look on Pat's face here. It's either realizing you need to dial it back immediately because you've insulted your own player's family member, or it's a look of disappointment like, how are you two related? Wilyer Abreu is up to bat next, and he hits a sharp ground ball at the middle. Willson Contreras is trucking it to second base to break up the double play. We see shortstop David Hamilton looks hurt, and he even comes up limping. Now, I'm sure most of you can put 2 and 2 together. I know some of you may have objections to this slide in the modern game, but I just want to clarify, this to me is not a Chase Utley type of slide. This is not a Jose Bautista type of slide. This is a hard slide that I think could be argued as borderline dirty. I know he went cleats up into the shortstop's leg, and I'd really be curious to hear what you guys think in context of all that's happened over the years and in context of this game. Pat Murphy does the right thing to go out there and protect his guy, but the way Wilson pops up on the top step like The Undertaker, I gotta be honest with y'all, I thought we were gonna have a Pedro Martinez, Don Zimmer 2.0 moment on our hands. I mean, Wilson has true fury in his eyes. You got the senior citizen that just won't quit. I thought we had the perfect storm brewing. Here's another fun moment in the game when Pete Davidson gets to first base and starts telling Wilson their side of the story. You can tell the conversation doesn't really find much mutual ground with the amount of head shaking, head tilting, shoulder shrugging, and nonverbals that indicate, I don't know man, you're in the wrong to me type of body language. Eventually the conversation dies down and Wilson dismisses him with a hand gesture. We did learn tonight that Willson is the type of player to back up his talk, and for all the questionable things that happened on the field, you can't deny that he put it together with his bat. After getting hit by the pitch early on in the game, he doubled in the 4th, singled in the 7th, and tried to will his team back into the game during the bottom of the 9th with a monster home run.
Swinging a high drive, deep left field, forget about this. Home run for Willson Contreras, his 2nd of the season.
But in typical Brewers fashion, they do all the right things to win the ballgame, and the Red Sox pitching can't string it together while their offense is starting to show signs of life. You guys let me know, was there anyone you think that was in the right, someone who was in the wrong, or is this just all fair under healthy competition?